In the modernistic future, humans have developed a system through which they can conceive their babies through pods. But this couple go against the system to adopt the natural way. The story starts with a woman admiring her pregnant belly in front of the mirror. The woman suddenly wakes up and realizes it was all a dream. Her name is Rachel. She gets up from bed and eats the breakfast prepared by the machines in her home. She also completes her daily gut intelligence test. Her AI assistant named Elans asks her to add a nature pod session to her schedule since her serotonin levels are constantly decreasing, but she refuses because of her busy schedule. She then wakes up her husband Alvi, who is a botanist. He is a man who prefers to be close to nature and does not really side with modern culture. He spends his morning taking care of the plants in the apartment greenhouse. While going to her office, she sees a woman who is carrying an artificial womb on the train. She is somehow trapped in thoughts, but eventually snaps out of it. In the later scene, Rachel is leading a presentation for the new cognitive assistant AI models known as Mashas. After some time, the HR of the company calls her in to inform her about promotion. She also asks about Alvi's profession and Rachel says that he is a botanist. The woman sincerely suggests that the couple should start thinking about conceiving a baby, since the womb center is now owned by the company Pegasus. She also says that the company is entitled to cover the down payment of the whole process. Tired of everything going on, Rachel asks Masha to set up a nature pod session and she relaxes for some time. Just then, she gets a call from the web center about a vacant spot that might run out if Rachel and Alvi don't secure it for themselves. The center is also arranging a tour for the couples who has signed up. After much consideration, Rachel agrees to sign up for a tour of the center on Thursday. Rachel then continues her nature pod session and in her sleep, she dreams about holding a baby while roaming on the beach. Meanwhile, in Alvi's workplace, students are excited to trying figs, since they are much accustomed to eating machine foods. Alvi is all excited and happy seeing their interest in nature. Later in the afternoon, Rachel shares the news about securing a spot in the womb center with her friend Alice. She is on cloud 9 hearing the news and suggests that they must celebrate the news with their husbands. But then Rachel shares that she is not sure about proceeding since she hasn't informed Alvi yet. As Rachel becomes more anxious about everything going on, she thinks about talking to Eliza, her AI therapist. Eliza asks Rachel the reason why she hasn't informed about the womb center thing to her husband yet. Rachel confesses that she is anxious about how Alvi might react, since he has always wanted a natural child. Eliza says that even if the child will grow inside the pod, it will not be any different from the ones born inside the uterus. Rachel knows that she must inform her husband before Thursday. Later, when she is about to talk to Alvi regarding the tour they are supposed to attend, he speaks up about how students were so excited about interacting with nature. He is happy how they enjoyed the whole experience. He also says with a sigh that the world gradually started destroying when people depended on machines more than they ever did on nature. They have been treating nature like a commodity for years, and this has only led to an emotionally starved population working like machines. As she hears all of this, she is much more anxious to even talk about the womb center, so she decides to take a tour herself. In the center, all the people are waiting for the tour to start. In the meantime, they are watching the Pegasus founder talking about this system of growing children inside pods being benefiting for parents as they allow women to have a wonderful career that is not hindered due to pregnancy. He also adds the problem of declining birth rates in many countries. Just then, the director of the womb center, Linda Waschek, welcomes everyone to the tour. She takes everyone to the incubation where she shows a pod with a baby growing inside. She explains how the parents can control the pods through phones and tablets. They can also turn on different audio for the child. The parents also get to choose the flavors the baby feeds so the child does not become a picky eater. The pods can be disconnected from the base for 48 hours, which makes it convenient for traveling. Rachel asks if the baby can hear the outside and Linda replies that they can definitely hear the outside world. After the briefing, Linda asks the parents to confirm their spots by an advance deposit. Afraid that they might run out of spots, Rachel deposits money to confirm that she is up for the procedure. Later that evening, Alvi asks Rachel about a deposit of $8,700. He is concerned that they might have to notify the bank. Just then, Rachel opens up about the tour and securing a spot in the womb center. Alvy is quite confused and asks for an explanation. She admits that last year they were placed in a wait list since she never expected a call back to the womb center. Alvy is very disappointed that she did all of this without informing him and that she agreed to grow their baby inside an artificial womb. Rachel breaks down and says that she only did this because she wants a baby with him. She also suggests him to talk with Alice and her husband regarding any kind of worries. The next day, they visit the couple and Alice's husband Ben shows up carrying the pod. He shares that growing a child in a pod is great since the child care responsibility becomes equal between a couple. Alvy, however, is still not content, and when offered to carry the pod once, he declines politely. Alvy is still wary of the decision and needs more time, but Rachel reminds him that they don't have much time since they might lose their spot. She also suggests him to talk with Eliza if feels anxious. He agrees, but during the conversation with Eliza, he is dissatisfied and instead starts an argument with Eliza, saying that an AI will never be able to understand human concern and feelings because they don't have a soul and feelings. When he comes out, he lies to Rachel that the session was good. That night, after they make love, he shares his thoughts with Rachel. He agrees for the procedure. The next day, they meet Linda, who asks an absurd question. She asks if it is important for Alvy to be her father. The couple exclaim that is that even a question? It's definitely important and means a lot to them. Linda further explains that the procedure can be done with only the ovum and her skin cells, and the procedure doesn't really need the involvement of male counterpart. However, she also adds that if the couple wants a boy, they need the Y chromosome from the father. Rachel insists that she wants her husband's involvement. Further, they leave the gender of the baby to the nature. The scene shifts and the couple is watching the fertilization of the ovum nervously. After insemination process is complete, Linda congratulates the couple. Back home, the couple shares the news with Rachel's parents. Her father then advises Alvy to sell the land he owns on Shell Island since they are soon going to be parents. Rachel knows how Alvy feels about the topic, so she tries to drop the topic. For the few days, Rachel has all the access to the pod and she constantly checks for the child's progress. She also feeds the baby using her tablet. She also asks Alvy to join in listening to the baby, but he denies, saying they won't be able to hear anything anyway since it's too early. In the incubation room, Rachel asks a nurse if she can see her baby through the window, but the nurse explains that a baby is kept in complete darkness for 7 weeks initially, or until they can detect his heartbeat. A pod beeps in the room and the nurse explains that the baby is ready for delivery. The device knows when the baby is ready since special proteins and hormones are released. However, the due date definitely rests on the nature. Later that night, Rachel has weird dreams about having a C-section and birthing an egg. She talks to Eliza about this, but the AI explains that dreams are not reliable. Weeks pass, and then the moment finally comes when they hear the baby's first heartbeat. They are informed that they can take the pod home for 2 weeks. They open the window and see the little embryo. Months pass and Rachel decorates the baby's room. Alvy suggests to put a live plant in the room, but Rachel declines, saying that they can always use a hologram. Alvy is offended as he doesn't want his baby to experience nature through pods. When Rachel asks him to sell the plot on Shell Island, he declines. They have an argument. Later, Rachel sees a pregnant woman in the public pool. While they are changing, the women have a short conversation and the latter places Rachel's hand on her womb so she can feel the baby kicking. The next day, Rachel brings the pod home since she thinks it might be a good idea to stay close to their baby. Later, when the pod emits a strange noise, the couple realizes that they didn't feed the baby. They have a little argument about having equal responsibility as the parents. The scene shifts to the next day. The couple visit a private school owned by Pegasus. While looking around, they come across another couple who are complaining about their child not having any dreams. Linda assures that there are some side effects and that they are trying to fix it. She adds to her defense, saying dreams are not reliable analytical material anyway and are of no use. The next day, Alvy takes care of feeding the baby. Meanwhile, Masha informs Rachel about her decreased productivity levels. Alvy is now accustomed to taking care of the baby, reading to him and carrying the pod around. The next day, Alvy is informed that the greenhouse might be downsized since maintenance has been a great issue for the company. He is upset that all the plants will now be replaced with holograms. The same evening, he is quite emotional while watching a documentary on penguins. Just then, Rachel says that they might have to bring the pod back to the facility. Alvy counters, saying that having the pod around the house is great and he wants to be close to the baby. She continues to have weird dreams and is feeling depressed. Few days later, Due to some differences between her and Alvi, Rachel is having difficulty adjusting in home since she feels like everything just keeps revolving around the pod. Alvi asks her to spend some time with the baby, but she replies that maybe she is just not ready to be a mother. For the next few days, she carries the pod around with her, but instead she gets more and more conscious about what others might think about her in public. She later has to put the pod inside a small room where all the other moms do. Eventually, after a workshop in the womb center, the couple has to put the pod in the incubation center, even if they wish to spend more time with it. She has a recurring dream about holding a baby while walking in the beach. The next day, she places a live plant in the baby's room and Alvi seems quite happy about it. The HR at her company asks about her decreased levels of productivity, but she completely denies that she has depression. Later, Rachel and Alvi meet Linda, who asks them for a preferred date for induced childbirth. The couple seem confused about the whole situation, but Linda explains that the pods are in a very high demand, so they have been ordered to induce childbirth at 39 weeks. The couple asks deliberately to keep the pod at home until childbirth, but Linda says it's forbidden to keep the pods outside the center. Exhausted, they come out of the center. Alvi tells Rachel to wait for him. He then steals the pod from the incubation room and escapes. Later, Rachel tells Alvi they should escape to the Shell Island and wait for the baby to come out. She explains that she just does not want her baby's first moments to be in the walls of a womb center. Later, Alvi is talking with Linda. He says that Rachel is in a bonding phase with the baby and they wish to have the baby in home. Linda argues that the pod is the facility's property and they should have followed the procedure. As he strongly admits that they are planning on home birth, Linda explains that they will need a self-generated birth code for the pod to open. The couple move on with their plan and escape to the Shell Island. As the last few days of the gestation period is left, they spend more time with the baby, close to the nature. One day, Rachel notices that the base of the pod is not turning on. They soon realize that the facility has disconnected the access of the pod to their facility. Rachel is nervous, and to calm her, Alvi says that they have 48 hours left before the pod switches off, and they should hope that the baby is ready before that. The very next day, the pod is ready, and now the couple is nervous about opening it since they need the code. Rachel tries to open the pod with the date of the baby's conception, but nothing seems to work. Alvi then decides to break it open with his tools. He breaks the pod into 2 pieces, and the couple lovingly embrace their baby. Later, Rachel wraps the broken pod and packs it in an empty box. She drops it off in the post office and gets back to her house. She then happily lays down with her husband and her baby, and the story ends here.